Your phone has 0 bars. Your water bottle is half empty. The sun is setting, and you haven't seen the trail in 3 hours. You feel panic rising. Your heart is pounding. Every instinct screams at you to run, to find your way out, to do something, anything. But here's the terrifying truth that search and rescue teams know. The thing that feels most natural to do. That instinct that feels like survival. It will probably kill you. What you're about to learn saved lives. Real lives. People who should have died in the wilderness walked out because they understood one simple truth. Your instincts in a survival situation are catastrophically wrong, and I need you to understand why. If you're someone who loves wilderness stories, documentaries about survival, or just wants to know how not to die if something goes wrong during your next hike, hit that like button right now. Not later. Right now. It helps our community grow. And honestly, the more people who know this information, the fewer tragedies we see in our national forests. And please subscribe to Survival Sensei HQ. We're building a community of people who want to understand the wilderness before they go into it. New videos every week. Drop a comment below telling me where you like to hike. I read every single one. Now, let's get into why 90% of lost people make the exact same fatal mistake. The moment you realize you're lost, something primal happens inside your brain. Your fight or flight response activates, adrenaline floods your system, and that adrenaline is screaming one message: move, find your way out. Walk to safety. So what do people do? They walk. Faster and faster. They convince themselves the parking lot is just over the next ridge. Maybe the next one. Maybe the one after that. This is what search and rescue professionals call the mobility trap, and it's one of the most destructive decisions a lost person can make. Here's the geographic nightmare you're facing. You are a single human being in millions of acres of wilderness. You are a dot, an invisible dot. When you stay put, the search radius is fixed. Rescue teams can systematically grid search that area. They can canvass every inch. They know exactly where to look. But the moment you start walking, you exponentially increase the search area. You're not just lost in one place anymore. You're lost in a constantly expanding radius. You're walking out of zones they've already cleared. You're leaving no trail. You're becoming impossible to find. And here's the biological reality that most people don't understand. The human body has a natural tendency to veer in one direction because one leg is slightly dominant. Without a compass, without a clear reference point, you will literally walk in circles. You'll exhaust yourself. You'll burn calories you don't have. You'll injure yourself on terrain you can't navigate in panic. And statistically, panicked hikers walk away from civilization, not toward it. Unless you are in immediate danger from a wildfire or flash flooding, your first decision must be to stop moving. Find an open space. Make yourself visible. Become a target, because a moving target is impossible to hit. A stationary target? Rescue teams can find you in hours. You have roughly half a litre of water left. You don't know when you'll be found. Could be today, could be 3 days. Your brain does the math. It tells you, ration this. Take tiny sips. Make it last. Save it for when you really need it. This is called voluntary dehydration. And it is a killer. Let me explain the physiology, because this is where science meets survival. Your brain is 75% water, not metaphorically, literally. Water is the medium through which your neurons fire, through which your thoughts form, through which you make decisions. When you become mildly dehydrated, we're talking just a 2 or 3% loss of body water, your cognitive function collapses. Mild dehydration causes confusion, poor judgment, lethargy. And here's the trap. In a survival situation, your intelligence is your greatest asset. It's more valuable than your strength. It's more valuable than your equipment. Your brain is what keeps you alive. So when you intentionally dehydrate yourself to save water for later, you're destroying the one tool that could actually save you. Search and rescue teams have recovered dozens, hundreds of bodies from hikers who died of heat stroke and complications from dehydration. And do you know what they found in their backpacks? Water, half-full canteens, full water bottles. They were saving it for later. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. There is no later if you pass out from heat exhaustion today. Water does you absolutely zero good sitting inside a bottle. It only helps you when it's inside your cells, when it's flowing through your bloodstream, when it's keeping your brain functioning. If you're thirsty, drink. Keep your brain sharp. Keep your blood volume high. A clear-headed survivor can find more water sources. A confused survivor will walk off a cliff while holding a half-full bottle. You've seen the survival shows. The host spends 3 days hunting a wild boar. He builds elaborate traps. He starts fires to cook meat. He's resourceful. He's impressive. And viewers watch thinking, that's what survival looks like. That's not survival. That's entertainment. Let me introduce you to something called the rule of threes. This is biology, not opinion. You can survive 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter in extreme weather, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. 3 weeks. Your stomach will hurt when you're hungry. You'll get a headache. You might feel weak, but you will not die. You won't come close to dying. You're not in danger from starvation, not even remotely. But here's what happens in reality. A lost hiker, focused on the Hollywood version of survival, spends their daylight hours trying to build complicated snares. They're looking for edible plants. They're trying to hunt. They're burning calories, sweating, exhausting themselves. And while they're focused on the 3-week killer, they're ignoring the 3-hour killer. The temperature drops 30 degrees. Night falls. And because they were hunting instead of building shelter, they're now facing hypothermia. Hypothermia can kill you in as little as 3 hours. They died worrying about starvation while ignoring the real threat. When you're lost, ignore your hunger completely. It's just a feeling. It's not a threat. Prioritize shelter first. Prioritize fire second. Prioritize water third. Food doesn't even make the top 3. Don't spend a single calorie chasing squirrels until your thermal safety is absolutely guaranteed. Every grandfather has told this story. Every Boy Scout handbook includes this advice. If you're lost, find a river and follow it downstream. It will lead to a town. Water flows to bigger water, and towns are built on water. On a map, this is logical. On the ground, it's a suicide mission. Here's the geographic reality that nobody talks about. Rivers don't flow through nice flat meadows in the wilderness. Rivers are forces of nature. They carve through terrain following the path of least resistance. And in mountainous or densely forested areas, that path is through steep canyons, past waterfalls, and through dense, impenetrable vegetation. If you follow a river, you're forcing yourself into the most difficult terrain in your entire area. You're climbing over wet, slippery rocks. You're fighting through vegetation that tears your skin and clothes. The noise of rushing water drowns out rescue helicopters. Rescue teams calling your name. You can't hear them over the river. And here's the physics nobody mentions. The air near moving water is significantly colder and damper than the air just 50 feet away. You increase your hypothermia risk dramatically just by being near the water at night. Instead of going low, go high. Seek a ridge. Find a clearing. You want elevation. You want to be visible from the air. You want to be visible from the ground. You want to be where sound carries. In almost every terrain, except a flat, open desert, the river is not a highway. It's a trap. Night is falling. It's raining. You're cold, wet, scared. You make a decision. I need fire. I need warmth. I need light. I'm going to build a massive fire. You spend 2 hours gathering firewood. You struggle with wet tinder that won't light. You use your last match. It flickers. It dies. You're now exhausted, soaking wet. Colder than you started, in complete darkness, with no heat source. This is fire fixation, and it's killed more people than almost any other survival mistake. Here's the physics. Fire is incredibly difficult to sustain, especially in bad weather. It requires constant fuel, constant energy from you. You're burning calories to gather wood, you're burning calories to maintain the fire. And fire only heats one side of your body while the other side freezes. It's thermodynamically inefficient. A properly constructed debris hut, a shelter made of leaves, branches and pine needles, works like a sleeping bag. It traps your own body heat. You become your own heat source. Your body radiates warmth into an insulated space. A shelter insulates your entire body. A fire warms one side. Search and rescue teams have found people dead next to the cold ashes of a fire they couldn't sustain. They spent every ounce of energy trying to spark a flame and had zero energy left to insulate themselves from wind and cold. Physics says shelter first, fire second. If you can build a debris hut that's 3 feet thick, you can survive sub-zero temperatures with just your body heat. Fire is a luxury. Insulation is survival. You might be wondering, why do we make these mistakes? Why do smart people, educated people, capable people walk when they should sit? Why do they ration water when they're dying of thirst? Why do they hunt when they should be building shelter? The answer comes down to one word: control. When you're lost, you feel helpless, completely helpless, and that feeling is unbearable. So doing something, anything, feels better than doing nothing. Walking feels like progress. Rationing water feels like planning. Hunting feels like surviving. Building a fire feels like taking action. But nature doesn't care about your feelings. Nature doesn't reward effort. Nature rewards physics, thermodynamics, calorie conservation. Real survival is boring. It involves sitting still when every fibre of your being wants to move. It involves drinking water when instinct says to save it. It involves piling leaves around yourself and waiting. It's not an action movie. It's a waiting game. And waiting is winning. Let's recap the protocol for when the map stops making sense and you realize you're genuinely lost. Don't move. Stay put and become a visible, fixed target. Don't ration. Drink your water and keep your decision-making sharp. Don't hunt. Ignore your hunger and focus entirely on temperature regulation. Don't follow the river. Stay high and dry where you can be seen and heard. And finally, don't obsess over fire. Build a thermal shelter before you try to spark a flame. The wilderness is a neutral place. It's not trying to kill you, but it won't help you either. The only thing that turns a beautiful hike into a tragedy is one bad decision. Now you know the rules. Now you're prepared. If this information resonated with you, if you learned something that could genuinely save your life or someone you care about, please hit that like button. Share this video with every hiker you know, every outdoor enthusiast, every person who loves the wilderness but respects its power. Comment below. Tell me about your most challenging hike or your closest call. I read every comment. And subscribe to Survival Sensei HQ. We're building a community of people who understand that the best survival tool isn't equipment or strength. It's knowledge. Real, actionable, science-backed knowledge. New videos every week. Videos that could save your life. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there.